Welcome back, one and all. It's a new year,
Hey.
20, new year, new show. We're back on the airwaves, back on the World Wide Web, and of course, back on AM radio frequency 456 on the dial. I'm only joking about the latter. Yes, we're here today for the next hour, nursing hangovers and giving you the lowdown on the latest 2020 has to offer in the way of news and views about cars. This week, we're going to round up everything automotive, from tractors to Trabants in the car news. We're going to look at some great driving roads across the world in lost highways, from lanes in the Lebanon to autobahns in Austria. We'll also be unveiling a future classic car in our classic car selection. This week, it's a car that has the badge of a Beetle, but the heart of a Bentley. That's going to keep you guessing. And of course, it wouldn't be the car show on your radio without me delving into what you have to offer in the way of correspondence in the mailbag this week with the new formula for whiter whites, a better engine management system, and it provides you with a good night's sleep. You can see we've obviously had a new marketing team on board.
Sounds 60% of the time it works every time. Yes, this is Car-Boyz. We're back in town. It's the only show that lets you take 2 bottles into the shower. That's what the marketing team said. Wishing everyone a happy new year and calling all those fans of the motor car to pin back your logos and get a load of this. Sorry, I came all Chaz and Dave there. Yes,
literally
I didn't.
Come over.
This week, no, it's got more rabbit than Sainsbury's. This week we have a fantastic quiz, a list of questions in our car quiz. I shall be the quiz master or the quizmeister and given a chance of a young man from southwest London to walk off with a single bus ticket to the Heathrow bus terminal. What a dream of a prize. See, I like that. That's good. This week the quiz is European Cars of the Year.
Wow.
We also have comment on last year's election, which went by, and basically, quite frankly, we can't be bothered because, as a Who says, meet the old boss, same as the new boss.
All right.
I'm not very Roger Daltrey. I am actually Simon Citroen, and squeeze me, baby, till the juices run down my leg. Squeeze me, baby, till the juices run down my leg. The way you squeeze my lemon, I'm gonna fall right out of bed.
Wow, thank you, Robert Plant. I gather you're appearing in a remake of The Wizard of Oz as the Cowardly Lion. Very little makeup required there. Maybe. And I'm Richard Green, and we're all going on a summer holiday, and we're working for a week or two. Fun and laughter on our summer holiday. No more worries for me or you for a week or two. Wow, I feel like buggering a bus conductor. And this is Car-Boyz. Welcome to the show. 2020 here, brand new year. Now, you'd have thought we'd be making a long list of New Year's resolutions, including me ranting less about stuff. Well, let me tell you, that's not going to happen. I was thinking about it, and then a bicycle nearly rammed into the side of my car. As I've already mentioned on this show, I have nothing against a cyclist. I have often been known to forego the car and the perambulation of my 2 legs in favour of a penny farthing, a tandem, or even a BMX. Yes, I love a bit of cycling. What I don't like is the aggressive nature of cycling that's become the norm here in the West. For many years, I lived in Southeast Asia, and the bicycle is the original form of transport for many folk. And for most, it still is. Once you get a bit of money, you transfer to a motorbike or scooter. If you really hit the jackpot, you buy a car. Now, this is the way for most people progress in transportation terms in the whole of Asia, from India to Iraq, from Bangkok to Beijing. The common man starts off with a bicycle, ends up with a car, and has a motorbike in between the two. Therefore, they know how to behave as a car driver when surrounded by bicycles and mopeds, and they give them some room, and vice versa. Like a large shark surrounded by small remora cleaning fish, the big Mercedes SL500 in Hanoi will be swamped by a team of mopeds and bicycles. And it's a symbiotic relationship that seems to work. Traffic flows like a mountain stream. Now, what's lacking in the West is a complete lack of empathy. Car drivers can't stand aggressive cyclists, and cyclists hate inconsiderate car drivers. Well, guess what, folks? We've all got to get along, and both groups need to chill out. With that thought did pass into mind on a dark Monday morning this week as a cyclist with no helmet and no lights and no sense of common courtesy nearly crashed into the side of my car. Rather than apologise and move on, he decided to berate me for his inability to cycle correctly and be a bit more understanding of fellow road users. I, of course, gave him the same respect and hand signal that the English archers showed the French at the 1415 Battle of Agincourt. Precisely the 2-fingered salute. But the thing is, and here's the rub, if I'm a bit more considerate to you as a car driver, I stop you as a cyclist from dying. But as you as a cyclist are a bit more considerate to me, you may also stop yourself from dying. But you won't stop me as a car driver from dying because I'm in a nice, safe, padded metal box. As I did mention to a Harley Davidson motorcyclist last year who cut me up, I'm safe in the car, mate. You make a mistake on that, and you're not. I'm not suggesting for a moment that we call for the random execution of cyclists by motorists ramming into them, although it has crossed everyone's mind at some point. But maybe, just maybe, we can consider each other for a moment. And turning my head back to Asia, there's a great South Asian saying from India that might is right. The bigger your vehicle, the more right you have to be on the road. Not necessarily fair, but certainly follows the law of nature a bit more. The elephant trounces the mouse in a game of who's going to get right of way. And believe me, the elephant will always win. In the same sense, they always tend to give way to a big Arctic truck when I'm driving the tiny Honda Civic. Cyclists do not morally have any more right to be on the road than me, despite what Greta Thunberg says. In fact, how dare you not consider your fellow car drivers, and maybe you should go back to cycle school with Greta. God, she gives me the creeps, that girl.
How dare you?
How dare you? I think she's on the spectrum somewhere, from what I've heard.
She's got a boat though as well, hasn't she?
Yeah, apparently she had to fly some crew from Sweden to America to take the boat back. So how are we saving energy here? I don't know. I don't know whether she stopped and thought about that one, but it's everybody's looking after that. I tend to find it, as I run a lot. I do a lot of running, and you get treated like crap by cyclists in the same way that cyclists get treated like crap by motorists, and the same way that motorists get treated like crap by lorry drivers and bus drivers. So look, the bigger it is, give way to it. Try and think what other people are going to do before doing it. Don't just pray and hope, because if you pray and hope in a car, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a dent. In a bicycle, you're going to be dead.
The thing is it's not got any helmet, not got any lights. So when it comes to arguing that point, I don't think can't take the moral high ground on that.
Yes, it was a lovely got a little humpback bridge over the railway, and I was turning right, and he was coming, and he must have, because I looked, okay, that guy, and as I pulled out, he must have shot out of there like a rat out of a drain pipe, because it was so fast, and I didn't see him, and I sort of braked, and what are you doing? I'm driving. Look, again, it's not going to hurt me. All right, my insurance may go up slightly next year because we'll be claiming for the damage on the side of the car, but yeah, you might be in hospital. So, yes, I think we could all do with getting along. It is really weird. You go to Hanoi and it all flows. I mean, it's less now because more and more people in these countries like Bangkok and Hanoi are in cars. But everything does tend to have, because they've all been there. Everybody's been a cyclist in Southeast Asia at some point. They've all had a motorbike with 8 children, and they've made their money, and then they get a car. But they've all experienced that sort of progress. So that's my rant over. Next week we'll be talking about lithium, not the song released by Nirvana in the early 90s, but specifically I will be ranting about lithium supplies, batteries. We're all going to be driving electric cars, but I'm going to tell you how lithium is a finite product. So it's not a renewable. So electric cars aren't renewable. More about that next week.
Something to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. Should we have some... I'm going to try and get the news. I'm having problems with my... Oh, here we go. Here's some news. Oh, come on. There you go. Here you go.
News. It seems like they're all a bit splashed from the Christmas New Year break. Car news. And first off, are you still there?
I am. No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
I'm just sort of technical problems out.
It's not a new marketing team we need. A new sound team.
Definitely.
First off, in bad news for Aston Martin news, Aston Martin, the great British company that is Aston Martin, has confirmed it is continuing talks with potential investors after issuing another profit warning due to quote-unquote challenging trading conditions. Reading from firm sold less than 6,000 cars in 2019, which is down 7% on 2018. Chief Executive Andy Palmer said Aston had suffered a very disappointing year, I'll say. 6,000 cars, that's quite low. As a result, Aston's earnings margin for the 2019 year will be between 12.5 and 13.5%. Last summer, it issued a warning that the margin would be 20%, triggering a substantial fall in its stock price, meaning earnings would be around 60 million below expectations. Late last year, Aston Martin confirmed that it was in talks with potential investors, including billionaire Lawrence Stroll. Now, if you didn't know this, and I didn't know this, Stroll is actually the father of Formula One driver Lance Stroll and the owner of Racing Point F1 team, and is estimated to be worth in excess of a mere £2 billion. Having made his money investing in building up brands including Pierre Cardin, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, and Asprey. The thing is, they're all like clothing brands, well, mostly, and this is a car company.
Very different. Look, I don't know. I think Aston Martin. I think about 15 years ago, when they had the might of Ford behind them.
Yeah,
I think they thought they were going to start producing like massive numbers of cars, and you had the baby Aston come out. It was 4 parts bin, and they thought we're going to go. And back in the 90s, you'll remember that TVR did this.
Yes.
My hometown had a TVR dealership.
Really?
I was like, there's a TVR dealership now. So they suddenly expanded. But the difference between being a very niche producer and a mass producer, there's nothing in between. There's no little, we produce sort of in between the two. And this is where Tesla are finding themselves at the moment.
Yeah.
This weird ground that you can only make profits. It's laws of diminishing returns, isn't it? It's the scale of production. You have to quickly jump up, and great, you got a billionaire behind it. You're going to need all of his 2 billion though to do this if you want to do that, or if you want to pare it down and become a very niche manufacturer.
I think the problem also with Aston is it's got too many products that are pretty similar. So you got a little baby Aston, then you got it builds up to I think they're still selling the Vantage. They've now gone on into doing the SUV, but it's using parts. I think they're using Mercedes engines, AMG engines. So you're kind of going, well, what's going on here?
Point? Why not just make 2 really good sports cars, or one? Yeah. Really good sports car, and you can have the optional extras and everything like that. But really, we do these things. This is what we do. Yes. I mean, and also it's been harsh for them because China. The big thing is China's not buying them, the USA is not buying them, and they've dropped in sales in Europe. So we wish them all the luck. Moving on to slightly more lighthearted news. In Jetsons meets Blade Runner commuter news, Korean car firm Hyundai has teamed up with the ride-sharing service Uber to develop a personal air vehicle, or PAV, that could be used as a flying taxi in the future. The SA-1 concept unveiled in Las Vegas, carry up to 4 passengers, is capable of a vertical takeoff and landing. Is that VTOL?
Yes.
VTOL, yes. Like the Hawker Harrier. Harrier jump jet, yeah.
It is.
That has a cruising speed of 180 miles per hour, an altitude of between 1,000 and 2,000 feet above the ground. Hyundai said the machines will initially be piloted, but are capable of becoming fully autonomous eventually. The aircraft will be developed and produced by Hyundai, with Uber's nascent air taxi division providing airspace support services. Oh, that's interesting. Links to ground-based transport operations. Hyundai is the first firm to join the Uber Elevate initiative to develop mass-scale private air transport. The concept plane is intended to be capable of trips of up to 60 miles and is capable of being recharged. I did say recharged in 5 to 7 minutes at peak times. It will be propelled by small multiple propellers, so you can't. Obviously, this is the medium of effectively radio, so I can't show you. It looks like a drone.
Yes.
It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 propellers. It's going to be propelled by small multiple propellers positioned around the frame. Hyundai says this layout both reduces noise compared to a large helicopter rotor, aids safety by minimizing the impact of any single point of failure. That is true. The PAV concept is linked to Hyundai's proposed mobility system hub, a new mobility space that has a skyport for the PAV on top. Hang on a second. Uber can't even keep their license in London. How are they going to license flying cars? That sounds bloody dangerous. Although I do want to catch one of these. I was looking at it going, I really want to catch one of these. Except because my wife's been in lots of helicopters, and it's always, I'm the geek that goes, oh, helicopter. She goes, I don't know, I was in a helicopter. Wait, what was it? Was it Russian? Was it American? I don't know. It's in some African country. It's a helicopter. I've never been in a helicopter. And I want... they said battery charged. I do not want to go into a battery charged plane. How much have we got? Well, we might get there. You wouldn't get into a plane that had. Has it got enough aviation fuel? Should we fill up? It'll be all right.
The pilot's desperately tapping on the gauge on the cockpit.
It'll be fine. I just won't use the accelerator much. We got wind in our favour. We won't use it. So now you're this show's resident airplane geek, Simon.
Yeah.
Over to you. Bearing in mind, and I will say this, the one thing I did think this was, I heard this on a friend of mine mentioned this the other day. A lot of people are using air helicopter taxis out of Manhattan to get to JFK and LaGuardia and Newark Airport in America.
The thing is, that's where most of the traffic is especially where we are in London. A lot of the smaller planes and the traffic is between 1,000 and 2,000 feet. So it's kind of congest things up already.
Ooh, okay.
We've got lots of helicopters flying around, and they can only fly through certain channels because of course we've got I think 5 major airports around London. So this is going to cause problems.
You say that, but Southampton is nowhere near London.
Just tag the name London on it. People will go to it.
Southampton, London Airport, what, like 70 miles away?
Build it, will come. The thing for me is, though, it's kind of like earlier on you said people are going to have difficulties just using bikes against cars. What makes you think that people are going to fly these drone things to wherever they need to go safely?
Yeah, man. Have you most Uber drivers are nuts, aren't they? You're not going to get ex-Boeing, ex-BA pilots going, yes, I'm going to do a bit of an Uber now around London. Got my own. It's you know, it is going to be somebody that probably speaks English as a second language. Last week he was driving a Prius around southeast London, and now he's in a PAV.
The other thing is, obviously, with big helicopters and their rotors, they make quite a lot of noise. But this noise, although it will be quieter, it will be a high-pitched sort of squeal, as most drones kind of make.
Oh, it'll be annoying.
Exactly, yeah. I can't see it happening.
In fact, you're right, because I watched, I was in Corfu about 6 years ago, and the Greek national cricket team, of which there are not many. I don't think that. I think it looked like the guy that drove the bus also was playing cricket.
Doubles up as the fast bowler.
Well, put it like this: a lot of kids were walking past, going, "What is this game?" For people around the world, Corfu was ruled by the British for about 60 years, and the Corfu cricket team, I think, it effectively is the Greek national side. I don't know, but they had a drone filming the game, and it was annoying. I could do this. I'm trying to watch the game. It was a night game. It was an evening game as well. It was very.
A bit of news. I think it was not last year. I think it was the year before. There was a drone that was around Gatwick Airport, caused all sorts of chaos.
Yes, of course.
I'll have to post some on our Facebook group. We'll give all the details later on. Of a drone that got taken out at a sporting game by a toilet roll.
Oh. Do you think you could take out one of these with us? That's the other thing. How safe is this going to be? Because if you're going through the more shadier areas of London, do you think there'll be kids sitting on the top of apartment buildings throwing breeze blocks? Yeah. Throwing breeze blocks at these things, trying to crash them. I believe you have something more news for us.
We do. We have in Kit from Knight Rider news, and it becomes a reality. I maintain that Kit was looking into the future. So if you remember Knight Rider, which was an 80s program with David Hasselhoff, he actually had a watch he could talk to his car with, and it was self-driving cars and everything. So I think Knight Rider was the future. But Lamborghini has introduced an Amazon Alexa function to its new 2020 Huracan Evo, claiming it will be the first manufacturer to offer in-car control via the program. The Alexa integrated supercar, which will be demonstrated at this week's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, will allow drivers to adjust climate, interior lighting, and seat heating with voice commands. Alexa, warm up my seat. With Alexa, though, being available to order on every Huracan during the course of 2020, drivers will be able to use it to place calls, get directions, play music and audiobooks, and check the news. Always good when you should be concentrating on driving
on the road.
But anyway, users will also, following the recent trend of home car connectivity, will be able to control Alexa-compatible objects in their home, such as the entry gates, thermostats, and lights, if you haven't got nothing better to do. Commenting on the new function, Lamborghini boss Stefano Domenicali, who used to work for Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken, said Lamborghini is a future shaper, and this is the first time an automaker will deliver in-cabin car control through Amazon Alexa to bring together car controls as well as smart commands and Alexa standard capabilities. A number of manufacturers such as Volkswagen, Toyota and Ford have previously disclosed intentions to integrate Alexa into their cars' infotainment systems. However, it seems that Lamborghini will be the first to bring it to the market.
Very
Interesting.
Yeah, people with too much money.
Yes.
Too much fucking money and not enough an imagination. I mean, really, entry gates? Who's got entry gates?
Not round here, you haven't.
I've got a friend who has a Porsche who wanted his garage gates, or as they say in America, his garage gates, he had a button in the car, but he said, no, that's not enough. So he went and spent another 1,500 quid on an automatic sensor that would open the gate as compatible with Porsche as he neared it, as opposed to having a little box with a press, or getting out your car and opening the garage door and shoving it in. It is. I mean, the thing is, I like to think, though, okay, this is the future, and this all feels a bit like 3D glasses to me.
Which is a nice idea, but failed.
It failed. And I think this will, because Alexa isn't going to be fast enough to go, whoa, a truck. Whoa, okay, all right now. None of this stuff's fast enough to suddenly, you get people shooting out at side roads, you get all sorts of things happening. I don't, having that sort of self-driverless cars, that's what I'm sort of hinting towards, that'll be the next step for this. I don't know whether I really need Alexa to... I already have a function on an iPhone where I can tap it and say, send a text message to blah, blah, blah.
Or here's another idea. I'll just reach over on my steering wheel and press the button to put my seats on or change the radio station.
Yes, or reach up and tap the interior lights. What I do need Alexa to do is to slap the ankles of my children when they're causing grief for fighting in the rear seats. Do you think that would definitely be this way? You just cut it out, you two, and slap the ankles? No.
See, I don't know. Actually, it could be quite a novel idea because obviously Alexa can be controlled by anybody.
Oh,
so it would just be Alexa, heat Richard's seats up while you're driving.
And I would feel like somebody could take control, and I think I'd just wet myself in the heated seats. Do that to me. I do think I had an accident here. What's going on? Yeah, I'm not. I also. Do you get to choose? I've never used Alexa. I have the Siri, which I've got a South African lady, because the male Siri sounded like an abused homosexual man.
Do you know who the Siri used to be? The first version of Siri.
Go on. So tell me something like Tom Baker, somebody with gravitas.
No. It wasn't even that. It was the guy that did the voiceover for The Weakest Link. Do you know when obviously the contestants are like working out who they're voting for? It's like Richard has got all his questions right. However, Simon hasn't. It was him. He was the guy that was the voice of the original Alexa, the original Siri.
He had quite a gravitas. I quite appreciate that. I quite like the the one that they've got, the male voice they've given me sounds like he's getting beat up by his boyfriend. I had to change it. I found it very disconcerting. And finally, in really, no one will remember these cars in 20 years' time, car news. The shortlist of contenders for this year's What Car of the Year award has been revealed. The magazine has named 31 models in contention for the overall prize. The prestigious annual award will be held this coming Tuesday, the 14th of January. Kia e-Niro claimed the overall prize last year, becoming the first electric car to do so. To be eligible, cars need to have been launched in the previous 12 months and be available to order by the time of the ceremony. As well as the overall Car of the Year prize, the winners of 27 classes will be named at the ceremony and include 3 new categories to reflect the increasing variety of electric cars and SUVs offered to UK buyers. Drum roll. Brrr. This year's 2020 shortlist include Audi e-tron, Audi Q3 Sportback, Audi Q8, BMW 1 Series, BMW 3 Series Touring, BMW 8 Series, BMW X7, Ford Puma, or Puma, as you say in America, Kia Soul EV, Mazda 3, Mazda CX-30. Sorry, I was dropping off there. These car awards aren't worth the paper they're written on. Nobody will remember how great the Kia Neo was in 2050. They'll be thinking about how great the new Land Rover was, or the Nissan GTR, or even the latest small electric car. A car really. These awards should be done 20 years after the car's released, because that's when you know whether a car's good or not.
Yeah.
You should do this year's Car of the Year awards, the year 2000, and you can go back and go, that was a good one. Oh, that was crap. Who remembers these?
It's funny you say that, because the quiz today is on similar lines.
Well, there we go.
But that's coming up later on.
Coming up later in the show. I can hardly wait. That's it from the news. I believe we have, if I can cue up the thing on time, a bit of classic car.
The most exhilarating view of Niagara Falls.
No, not that.
I'm looking forward to this week's
exhilarating. It is. I think we do need some new technical stuff. Here we go. Classic car selection. Do you know, I think we had much more success with the Christmas music on our last show. Yeah, that's enough of that. Right, this week's classic car selection focuses on a newer car, a car that is less than 20 years old, but a car that is still an amazing motor that one would love to have in their driveway. Now, if I was to mention to you, you could have a Bentley Continental for VW money, you would say I was either a liar or simply a fool. Well, I am neither. This is something that is achievable for anyone with a spare £5,000, believe it or not. This week's classic car selection takes us back to some strange times, the early noughties. The executive car was in the doldrums. The luxury car brands like Rolls and Aston Martin were suffering, and yet VW decided to buy the Bentley brand, relaunch it back to success, but weirdly at the same time create an Uber executive car with the VW badge for a market that didn't really exist. They created one of the best made luxury saloons of all time, and yet because it shared a badge with the Polo and the Fox, it was seen as a failure on paper, which it was. But their failure is your success if you're in the market for a car with the same engine as a Bentley and the build quality of a VW. The car I'm thinking about, of course, is the VW Phaeton. Launched in 2002 by VW Group Chief Ferdinand Piëch, it even has its own production plant made mostly out of glass. It was all very state-of-the-art. The idea was to produce a premium VW for very top executives. And now that VW had Audi and Bentley, it had a big spare parts bin to choose from. So the Phaeton's platform was the Volkswagen Group's D1. It shared that with the Bentley Continental GT, the Bentley Continental Flying Spur, and certain systems such as the automatic transmission and some engines are also shared with the Audi A8. Now, compared to the Audi A8 4.2-litre FSI Quattro, the Phaeton is heavier, but still competitive with a lighter A8 in most driving chests due to the Phaeton's increased engine power. It's 335 HP versus 330. It's got a shorter axle ratio. However, the weight gives the Phaeton considerably worse acceleration and poor fuel economy compared to the A8. But that's not what this car's about. It's a solid car. And despite celebrating its 18th birthday this year, it's certainly a car worth considering as a classic or even a daily driver. Many of these, despite the high mileages, have spent years as either premium executive cars or chauffeur-driven limos. They've all been serviced regularly, Oil's been changed, and usually this has all been done at main dealership, not backstreet mechanics. Hence, many of these cars are in tip-top condition. And mechanically, it's all VW Group parts. Reliability is pretty good. Parts availability is fine. The best thing you can do is pick one for literally just over £2,000.
Mm-hmm.
At that price, the Phaeton may prove hard to resist, especially in one of the more unusual W12 or V10 diesel configurations. The W12 was the Bentley engine, and they also have a 5-litre diesel that was from the VW Touareg. So why not a roaring success then? A wolf in sheep's clothing, or rather an Audi A8 with a Bentley badge, with a Bentley engine, a VW badge. All sounds great. They were, but they were very expensive when they were first launched. £70,000, which means you're a top-end 5 Series, 7 Series territory, and you can actually just buy the Audi A8 or even an AMG Mercedes. So that's what people did, and they forgot about this car. It's now time to jump on the bandwagon before these things become too expensive to fix. And there's the rub. You can buy one for a mere £2,000, but don't. Just like all second-hand luxury cars, if this thing goes wrong, it can be very expensive to fix. One shocker absorber goes, you have to replace all the other 3 as well. That's going to cost you in excess of £3,000. That being said, if you can find a good one, lowish mileage, and a full service history, we suggest you snap it up. We found a 10-year-old model with 92k on the clock, 3-litre diesel engine, leather full electric pack in A1 condition for sub £5,000.
Nice.
Splurge up to 20, and we found a 7-year-old car with 55 on the clock, again full service history, all-wheel drive, and the amazing W12 6-litre Bentley engine. 20 grand. That's a lot of car, not much money. So why not say, ja, das ist good to the VW Phaeton, and tell your neighbours you have a Bentley on the driveway? Well, of sorts. I do remember Top Gear reviewing this, and Clarkson just eulogising about the struts that held the boot open. He said they were just so solid, chrome struts, a completely over-engineered car. And
you go.
Even the ones with the smaller engines, because you can't, they didn't make a lot of the W12s with the 6-litre. Even the 3.2 litre engines, the inside looks fantastic. It just looks solidly built. I couldn't find one that looks like it's ragged. Even one that was at £2,400. I went, that still doesn't look like it's been raced, and they literally haven't.
It's a really strange one because VW traditionally didn't make big cars, so that was their first problem. 2, £70,000.
Yeah,
when that's a lot of money, and a lot of competing car brands. If you think of Ford got rid of the Granada and things like that, so no one was making big cars.
No, that's exactly right.
I think the VW Audi group had, I think it was a Skoda Superb, which I think was a similar sized vehicle.
There is. That's one my friend owns, and he absolutely loves it. Yeah.
So because it was bigger than a Passat. So it was the bigger platform. It's a really honor, and that's massive depreciation. £70,000 to picking one up for just over 2, or a decent one for 3 or 4. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And then the top one I could find in the UK was 20, and that had all sing. It was only 7 years old. It had everything all singing, all dancing on it. It had the Bentley engine. It was A1 condition, 55,000 on the clock, full service history, 1 driver.
Wow.
There's a heck of a lot of car for not much money. I'm not sure how much you're going to pay on road tax. I think your insurance is going to be... Although, is your insurance going to be relatively big? Not really, because the insurance is based on how many of these vehicles were in crashes, and I'm guessing not a lot of them, because these cars weren't ragged. It's not the sort of car.
The question is it a car that you would drive, or is it a car that you would be driven around in?
That is the problem. I think most of them you were driven around as... I think it falls into... I think if you remember, I did a classic car a couple of weeks ago. I did the Land Crab.
Yes.
And it wasn't quite... The Land Lobster, I should say. The Austin 3-litre, which was the big version of the Maxi. And it wasn't quite luxurious enough. It didn't have leather. It had a PU on the seats. To be the car that the executive wanted. He'd want the Jag, not this. And this is the same thing. You get driven around on it. If it's got a VW badge, you want the Bentley, or you want the Jaguar, you want the Mercedes. That being said, if you can look away from that badge, I think it's a heck of a car. And I think it's a
Absolutely.
nice classic. And I think if you're maybe at the older end, if you were retired, this would be perfect,
That would be good.
perfect sort of old guy car down the golf club. I've got a Bentley, and really it's a VW. Should we do some Lost Highways?
Yes, please. Should we have some Lost Highways music?
Oh, I think we should. Goes all techno there.
What didgeridoo?
I think it might be. It's a bit. I don't know if it's a didgeridoo or a Jew's harp. I think it's probably the Jew's harp.
So if you're new to the show, if you're first time listening to this is our feature where listeners email us in and give us their favourite roads and the reason why they love them. It could be that perfect stretch of tarmac with no speed cameras where you open the throttle or the barrel and barrel down the highway. Oh, something's beeping.
Sorry about
that. Barreling down the highway. It could alternatively be a quiet country road that leads down the coast. Whatever it is, let us know your perfect driving road. So, first one for this year and on this show this week, Dave emails us from Manchester, a lovely part of the world, and says one of the greatest driving roads that he's experienced is in the Lake District. Named as one of the greatest drives of Britain by the AA, the A686, which runs from Penrith through Alston across the roof of England, and down to the A69 just after Hayden Bridge. It is great fun to drive. You start from a roundabout linking the A6 to the A66 from the outskirts of Penrith, close to the M6 junction 40. Like the M6, it's quite a good road as well. From here, you drive through the fairly flat forest to the Llangorrafby crossing an unattractive temporary single track. We use the term temporary for that. Metal frame bridge that has been there for almost half a century. From there, the road climbs to the Hartside summit, all of 1,904 foot of it. From there down to Alston, the highest market town in England, if you didn't know, which was has a nice marketplace and a rather steep cobbled road. It makes me want to wheel down one of those things like in the old Hovis adverts. With a stick.
I've driven around Penrith. There's no traffic.
Oh, okay.
I assume it's quite nice. Up by the Lake District, the Lake District's great to drive. You can really hoon. In fact, I nearly ran over a red squirrel in the Lake District, and I couldn't remember whether you're supposed to report them if you nearly run over them or not.
Really?
Yeah,
apparently,
grey squirrels you're supposed to report. Sorry, I digress.
No, that's okay. Apparently, there's spectacular views, steep gradients with some interesting old signs and milestones. The road reaches the A69 just east of Hayden Bridge. Great views of Lake District and a great driving road is what Dave says. So thank you for that, Dave. Thank you for your input.
Yeah, Lake District, Pennines. I've driven across the Pennines as well in an old Citroen, and that was fun. It's good. It's some good driving roads. Right, we're moving further afield. Annika writes from Bucharest. She says Romania has some amazing driving roads, one of which is through the Alt Valley. There's a lot of pronunciation here, so I apologise in advance. The Alt Valley, or E81, known from ancient times when the Roman Empire conquered this part of the Dacian kingdom. Back then, the road had a strategical and military and commercial importance, connecting Transylvania to the Danube. The most beautiful parts are in the resorts of Kalimanesti, Calciulata, driving the Cosia National Park, following the route of the Alt River until you get to Turnu Rosso. The valley offers spectacular views of the Cosia Mountains and the distant Fagaras Mountains and the Capatani Mountains. A lot of mountains there. Very close to the road, you'll discover the ruins of a Roman castrum, Arutella, the medieval Cosia Monastery, and the Turunu Monastery. Lots of monasteries. She says a very quiet road full of twists and turns, and you should check it out. It's one of the best roads, she says, in Central Europe. Also very cheap in Romania, she says, for roadside snacks and beer.
Ooh, sounds good.
So yes, so there's a couple of nice driving roads that you might want to fancy checking out. Talking of getting in contact with the show, if you would like to email the show, Your Lost Highways, it's car-boys@outlook.com, car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, we are car-boys at car-boys, boys with 4 Zs, car-boys, boys all with a Z, at car-boys, boys with 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys with a Z, at car_boys with a Z. And you can email us Your Lost Highways, email us your letters in the mailbag, which I'm
I
opening
like what
up
you did
now.
then.
See, continuity is my middle name. Okay, first off, Amy in Colchester says she hates the commute to work. She drives to the train station and then catches the train to London. She just says it's horrible. What's the cheapest car she can buy that won't break down? So this is not a lover of cars that's listening to the show. Great. At least we're reaching out.
That's good.
I thought 10, 12-year-old Honda Jazz, Toyota Aygo, they do a 1 litre one of those. They're all about £1,000 each. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm thinking, small cars, possibly. I don't know, Fiesta's all right. They're cheap. The thing is, for that sort of price, you just want a car that you can just throw away if it just doesn't work, really.
Yes.
The
Kleenex of cars, I would say. You can use it, throw it away.
Yes, that's what I think should do. Cheap and cheerful. Small car.
Hyundai Getz, Suzuki Alto.
Ooh, yes.
Just need a metal box. The Suzuki Alto, I think they've got quite nice little engines. Oh, she could get an older Dacia. Really,
one of the first ones. Yes.
What are those ones? Are the Santandero? Is that the sort of the small hatchback?
Sandero, yes.
Sandero, yeah.
The old rebadged Romanian Renault Clio.
Renault, real piece of crap.
That's our consumer advice. Just buy a crap car.
Buy a crap car from Romania. Oh, we've got a theme here. Nice roads, awful cars. Have you got a letter there?
Yes. We have got an email, in fact, from Carl88 from Ohio. He says he loves German cars, but which model, and which brands has the most reliability on the second-hand car market? Yeah. Now, this has been a big bone of contention for us, isn't it? Because German cars aren't built like German cars used to be.
No. They're built like English cars used to be. They're built like British cars, aren't they? Let's face it. I mean, we did a film. We did a film together about 10 years ago, and we used the W124 in that movie that my friend had bought for under £500, and it was one of the most solid cars, and it was a 1994 car.
Beautiful car.
He couldn't, and it was nearly 20 years old, and it was built like a tank. Every switch on that car worked. Every single switch. Everything was solid. Everything was built right. And, I had a BMW M Sport.
Yes.
3 Series. And everything on that wasn't built very well. Everything did break. Everything was made of plastic. So I would say the advice would be go older. And by older, I mean 20 years old, if you want a German car.
Because the problem also is, because even though they're newer cars and the bits fall apart quite easily, it's also going to cost you to replace them as well.
Yeah,
and quite a hefty bill.
Almost a nearly new German car is going to cost you the same to keep on the road as a W123 diesel from the 1980s, because everything is so expensive. The electrical problems I had on my BMW. Oh yeah, that's a common fault. Well, you shouldn't get common faults. These companies have established a brand that shouldn't get common faults, and that's why you always paid more for VW, BMW, Mercedes. You always paid more for those cars. They were built better. But
and the thing is, also, if you're getting an older one, depreciation's already pretty much gone from it anyway. You won't lose much money.
No.
All you just got to do is patch it up here and there, and it will last you.
That's our advice. I don't know what the running car. I mean, it's difficult because he's in America, so everything is going to be slightly more expensive. I don't know what the rain's like in Ohio, but I've got a feeling it's more north than south. So you're probably looking. It's a little bit more, going to get rustier cars. So maybe head down to Florida, try and pick one up from Florida, Arizona, if you're going to get something that's a little bit older. But I think that's probably the advice that we would give is buy an older rather than a newer car.
Absolutely.
Comet 365 from Singapore.
Nice name.
Us. Yeah. Says he loves a classic car. They love a classic car, I should say, in the Far East, Malaysia and Singapore. They've got classic MG and Jaguar clubs, even a classic Austin Maxi club.
No way.
Yeah, apparently. I am reminded of the phrase Malaysians love Maxes. His dad wants to get in on the act. What should he buy? Where should he buy it from? Well, don't buy it from here because everything
it rains.
is rusted to. Yeah, we put salt on the roads, so you may have tropical rain in the Far East. You don't have the cold that we have, and you don't have the salt on the roads that we have. If it was me, I'd look Australia or California. America, dry, where it's dry, maybe South Africa, and I would get an MGA, but with the MGBT engine in, which was the upgrade a lot of, because the MGA engine was poo, but the MGA always looked a pretty car.
Yeah.
So they put the MG, sod the purists, stick an MGB GT engine in there, or get friendly with the owners club in Singapore, because there's always going to be somebody that's going to want to sell something.
Yeah.
Go to rallies, chat to people. There's always, you've been to car rallies. There's always a car for sale. You go to a car rally. You go, oh yeah, there's somebody. Oh, I can't be bothered. This is too much hassle. There's always somebody trying to get rid of it. I do remember my own visits to Malaysia, seeing a rather sad white Austin Allegro on the side of a volcano in Malaysia, and it was there year on year. I think it was somebody's little Austin Allegro.
Just the standard Allegro, not Vanden Plas.
Oh, no. It wasn't. That was their dream, I think, to one day own the glorious Vanden Plas. And if you're unfamiliar with the Vanden Plas, it was a very awful little British car that tried. It was certainly the Austin Allegro Vanden Plas.
And had aspirations of being something grander than what it was.
It tried to be a Rolls Royce. It had a Rolls Royce grille on the front and walnut on the inside.
Oh, yes. On trays, wasn't it?
Yeah, trays in the back seat. Full leather. I mean, it's pearls to swine, for God's sake, isn't it? What a complete waste of time. I think also you had to wear proper leather driving gloves with string on the back. And you had to usually be a former member of the British military, probably an officer, to drive
one.
The Vanden Plas.
So there you go, Comet 365. That's our advice to you. Should we do our final one?
Yes, please.
Finally, we got Jakey43, the muscles from Brussels. I'm assuming he's the muscles from Brussels. He says what's going to happen ahead of Brexit? I work for a company in Belgium and live in Brussels, but I commute to and from Southern Ireland to see family through the UK. If we knew the answer to that, I think we would be in
millionaires. We'd be retiring. Nobody knows what's going to happen. My guess is nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't think it'll affect you at all.
Not for a few years.
You could just fly. Why don't you just fly to Dublin and then get a plane, then hire a car, and then you don't have to. But I'm guessing what he's doing is what my stepfather used to do: is drive across Europe and then catch a ferry from maybe France or Hooker Holland, and then going across to England, and then cross again. And then catch another ferry from what is it? Not Stranraer. From Anglesey to Dublin. That is a horrible journey and a heck of a journey. I don't think your car will be affected unless you're going to be buying and selling cars. That's the thing that's going to Brexit. And that will be the interesting thing, and we will be keeping you updated on this show as to what happens, because I think you're going to find it's suddenly going to be either more cheaper or more expensive to buy cars in Europe and or England.
And on top of that, actually, it's a lot easier. You can get from Brussels to London on the Eurostar these days as well. So if you want to go through London, it might be worth doing that.
Yeah, rather than don't really worry about. Yeah, you're going to be fine. Well, nobody knows what's going to happen on Brexit.
I don't think anyone's those in charge know what's happening either.
No, I would suggest nothing. Absolutely nothing. Should we have a quiz?
Yes, let's do a quiz. It is my favourite part of the show. It's this week's quiz.
Big audience today.
Thank you. Got a busload of people in today. All from Southend. Since it's a new year, we look forward and back to some of the new motors being released. Earlier in the news on this show, we were talking of the Car of the Year awards.
Oh, yes.
One of the highest accolades a car can receive is the European Car of the Year.
Wow.
So, since we're allegedly leaving Europe this year in 2020,
Wow.
this week's quiz is about the Car of the Year winners since its introduction in 1964.
Right.
I've tried to make this as easy as possible. It's multiple choice. It's either A or B. So we have young Richard here from Southwest London.
Hello.
So you ready? You ready to win that ticket to Heathrow Airport?
Yeah, I'm slightly confused. Do they still sell bus tickets?
I don't know. We'll find you something. We'll get you an Oyster card or something.
That's right. Yay.
So eyes down, looking. Question number 1. So starting off in its inaugural year in 1964, the first European Car of the Year was British. What was it? Was it A, the Rover P6, or B, the Hillman Imp?
P6.
Yeah.
I think the P6 was later. I think it's the Hillman Imp.
Ooh, is incorrect. Yeah, it was the Rover P6. The Imp was actually third, with the Mercedes 600 brackets the W100 in second place.
And the only one you'd want to own now is the Mercedes.
Exactly.
Damn. So, okay, you're not doing too well. Oh well, never mind.
Incorrect. So, question number 2. In 1968, the most unusual vehicle won the award. If you've seen our Facebook page, there's a picture of this car. It's the West German four-door saloon called the NSU Row 80.
Oh. Yeah,
I'd never heard of it either. But what other four-door saloon car did it beat that was in second place? Was it A, the Fiat 125, or B, the Ford Cortina? 1968, we're talking. Fiat 125.
No, it's the Ford Cortina.
It's incorrect. It's the Fiat 125.
The Fiat 125
was in second place, yeah.
They really do pick some piles of crap, don't they? European Car of the Year. The NSU. With I think the NSU had the rotary engine.
Oh, it is a good-looking car. It's four-door saloon. There's a nice little picture I put on Facebook earlier on. So if you don't know what it is, have a look at that. So question number 3. Come on, we can get this one. We were talking about Ford. You were talking about Ford Cortina. However, Ford have some of the best-selling cars, but their first victory at the awards wasn't until 1981. That's 1981.
Yes.
With which compact car? Was it the Mark III Escort, compact car, Mark III Escort, or B, the Sierra?
Oh, it's the Escort.
Bing! Is the right answer. Well done. Yeah, we're on the scoreboard. Yeah. It was the Mark III Escort. The Sierra was actually a runner-up 2 years later in 1983. So, well done. Question number 4. The first sports car to win the award happened in 1978. What was the car? Was it A, the Ferrari 308 GTS, or B, the Porsche 928? Ferrari 308 GTS.
No, it's the Porsche. It's the Porsche 928.
Bing! Is the right answer.
That was the one with the truck engine in it.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, the Porsche 928. That was the winner in 1978. So well done. 2 each. So
I should almost say, whatever choices you give me, if the crapper I go for is usually the winner. The piece of crap. Oh, that's the winner. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's how the Europeans think.
Yeah, okay.
So, question number 5. In 1988, so we're moving into the 80s.
All right.
1988, the biggest winning vote margin was achieved by 212 votes.
Wow.
By which French family car? So, is it A, the Citroën BX, or B, the Peugeot 405? 1988. Citroën BX.
Peugeot
405, starred by Pininfarina.
I'm going to go for the Peugeot.
Bing is the right answer.
That is actually a better car.
It is.
I've driven one of those. That is a much better car than the BX.
Oh, I do like the suspension on the Citroën BX.
Yeah, that's the only thing they have going for them. I did have a CX with a suspension that was completely crapped out. So it's like driving a cart horse down the road. I didn't own it. It was a company car. Also, I think something happened to the gear stick and it shot into the gearbox at some point, and it became almost like a short shifting Porsche.
Oh my
I
word!
don't know what had happened to this car, and it'd done over 200,000.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yes, you're right. It's the Peugeot 405. So correct.
Excellent.
3-2 is you're up. Question number 6. In 1993, I remember this one, the first non-European manufacturer to win the award came from Japan. With which Super Mini? Was it A, the Honda Jazz, or B, the Nissan Micra?
Micra.
Is the right answer.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
93, too early for the Honda Jazz. And of course, the Micra was built up in Sunderland at the time.
Oh, of course. My mate spun over a Micra.
Really?
Yeah. Around when we were kids, it was a number of cars that got decimated when we were at sixth form, and 17-year-olds driving around, and we found the engine the battery about 200 yards away from the car. We'd gone through a hedge, turned the whole thing over.
Oh, my
and I said, so was it a complete write-off? He said, no, he just had to get back it. They righted the car, and then he had to push out the dent on the roof, put the battery back in. I think the bonnet catch may have gone, and it was fine.
Wow.
Hardy cars.
It sounds like an episode of The In-Betweeners.
It does.
Question number 7. So 4-2.
Okay.
Question number 7. In 2008, which retro Super Mini took the honours at the awards? Was it A, the Fiat 500, or B, the Mini? 2008.
No, I'm going to go for Fiat 500.
Bing is the right answer, yes. Because, of course, the BMW Mini came out in 2003.
Yeah. Because I first experienced, I think when I had a drive around one of them in central London and experienced the joy of trying to sit in the back seat. Which you just can't.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely right. So well done. Question number 8. In 2011, the first electric vehicle to pick up the title was crowned. Was it A, the Vauxhall Ampera, or B, the Nissan Leaf?
Oh.
I've never actually seen. I've seen a Leaf, but I've never seen an Ampera.
Ampera. That was an interesting marketing meeting about what they were going to call their new electric. We could call it the Volterra. No, I think we'll go with Ampera. Mind you, this is a car company that have got a car called the Adam.
Yes.
The Adam. I'm going to go for the other one. The Leaf. Let's go for the Leaf. Yeah,
that's correct. Oh. That's absolutely right. So there's no way you could ever lose this game because you are now up and ahead. Yes. So question number 9. 2019's European Car of the Year was designed by the legendary British designer Ian Cullen. Was it A, the Jaguar I-Pace, or B, the Volvo XC90? Last year's European Car of the Year.
Jaguar I-Pace. What was it? What's the choices?
The Jaguar I-Pace or the Volvo XC90?
I'll go for the Volvo.
Oh, I thought you'd get that. No, it's incorrect. It was actually the Jaguar I-Pace.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So, question number 10, the last one in the quiz. You've already got your ticket to the bus station.
Excellent. I do that, but you can just hang around.
You can watch the planes from there. In its 55-year history, 3 cars have won the award twice.
Okay.
The Renault Clio.
Yeah.
The Vauxhall Astra. Are 2. But what is the third? Is it A, the Ford Focus, or B, the Volkswagen Golf?
I'm going to go for the Golf. Let's go for the Golf.
The right answer. Yes. Absolutely. It is a Golf. The Golf has won it 2 times. The Focus only once, although it has appeared as runner-up.
Fantastic.
There you go. So you go home with your bus ticket to Heathrow Airport.
I've got my bendy bully. I'm so happy. Thank you very much for that. We'll have another quiz next week, I guess. I better write one, hadn't I? Thank you very much, for tuning into the show. That's about it from us here at Car-Boyz. Obviously, if you want to get in touch with the show, it's car-boys@outlook.com. Car-boys, all with a Z, at outlook.com, and we'll endeavour to answer your questions, be they car related or not. And as I said, next week, tune in because we're going to be talking about rare earths.
Oh, scientific.
And how much rare earth is left and how much oil is left in the ground.
Rare Earth, isn't that some kind of prog rock album?
Great band from the early 1970s. They were the first rock band to sign the Motown label. Very
Really?
sign them. Yeah. I think
That's
they
what
have
we're talking about, are we?
That's all we're talking about is funk, is prop rock funk bands from the early 1970s. Yes, that's about it from us. Anything else to say, Simon?
No. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody listening to the show. And yeah, keep your comments coming in. Keep, checking out the Facebook page, Car-Boyz, at Car-Boyz, all the Zs, Car-Boyz, at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs. Twitter, we are Car-Boyz, at Car_Boys. Go and get a life, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.